So after a full season of battling it out for points, here we are. It's upon us, the playoff semi-finals. Wednesday against Sunderland. Probably would have made a decent final, actually. First leg, away, stadium of like 42,000 people going to be crammed into there. Sadly, only 2,000 Wednesday fans, but I'm sure they're going to make a massive noise and try and get the lads through there. Very difficult place to go. As we know, we got spanked by 5 up there earlier in the season in league. I'm not going to read too much into that, I'm going to be honest with you, because that was that stage when we got about 4 or 5 players out injured. COVID had hit the camp. We'd got, I'm pretty sure at the time Dad and Mo said there was only 7 players available to go into training, so they couldn't do any work, and that sort of carried on. I think we played Shrewsbury after. That was an odd moment in the season with the COVID in the camp and people fatigued, the ones who weren't available and others not available at all. So I'm not going to read too much into that result. So we'll have a quick look at Sunderland. Sunderland's last 4 games, although form sort of goes out at window with this, doesn't it? But they got a 0-0 with Plymouth. That was part of Plymouth's incredibly tough run in, if you remember the last 4 or 5 games they had. A 5-1 win against Cambridge, who we hammered ourselves. A 1-1 with Rotherham, who were still going for the title. And their last league fixture was a 1-0 win away at Morecambe. So, in good form, undefeated. 8 points in there, so not on fire, but in good form. Probably, you could say, similar about ourselves. So good form, not sparkling form. I've got to be honest, I haven't seen much of Sunderland since Neil took over. Obviously Johnson was there before, but since Neil's come in, I think I was looking, it's only the 1 defeat since he's been there. It might be possibly be 2, but I think it's 1 defeat since he's been in there. Came in, I think it was 2nd week of February, so he stabilised them and got them back up there. They were there about the beginning of the season. They were going to breeze it, didn't they? With Lee Johnson. Funny manager, Lee Johnson. From the outside looking in, when he was there and at Bristol City, just seemed to be one of the managers who he'd win 7 games on spin and fans were like, hey, and then he'd lose 7 games on spin, they were like, he's got to go. And that seems to be one of them managers who he wins or loses, doesn't seem to draw it. That's how I've got it in my head anyway. Linked with Wednesday job at one time, wasn't he, Lee Johnson? I don't think I could have had him now, because not because of how he's a manager or his football, and I thought Bristol City played some decent stuff, but it's just that voice. He always reminded me, when I used to hear him on radio or Quest or whatever, of Ron Moody when he did Fagin. You know, that slightly nasally southern twang. So I know you shouldn't appoint managers based entirely on their accent, but there we go. Not for me. Who is Sunderland's one to watch? Well, actually, there's more than one. I mean, they've got one obvious one, but there's quite a few. So, Sunderland's danger men then. I've done it this way instead of just picking one out, so there'll be 1 or 2 we need to keep an eye on over 2 legs. The obvious one is Ross Stewart, top goal scorer, 24 goals in 50 appearances. Nearly a goal every other game. Terrific record, that. Although I gather he's not been in best form of late. That don't mean out, does it, in a big game like this. Second top scorer, Nathan Broadhead. Now, apparently, he went off on Saturday against Morecambe. They've been trying to sort of keep it under wraps whether he's going to be fit enough to play or not against Wednesday. Probably a huge bonus for us if he missed the game. And then Embleton, O'Brien and Pritchard with 8, 6 and 4 goals respectively. Pritchard's the one there that's really caught the eye. I've only seen him a few times this season, but he's always been the one that's caught the eye. 10 assists, he's their top assist and goal maker. So plenty of players in there for Wednesday to keep an eye on. Stewart, that is a terrific record, that, isn't it? Apparently he's been linked with other clubs. I've been looking today to find out if there's any injury news or out like that, find out if anyone's suspended. I'm hoping that somebody like him with his goals record's not going to be available. And all I'm reading is how he's been linked with Norwich, he's been linked with Rangers and this and that. Man, that's the problem in this division, isn't it? You find it. If you're there or thereabouts at top and you've got a player who's in that sort of form like he's been in this season, the pressure to get up starts mounting because the vultures start circling, don't they, for your top talent if you don't go up. So I think is it Sunderland's 4th bash at getting back up there, so they'll be desperate to keep hold of him. And to that extent, being promoted would help him massively. But Yeah, Vulture's circling. Great record, that. It's like nearly 1 in 2. So Alex Neil, I'm sure he's a nice bloke. And I hadn't seen much of Sunderland since he took over. Took over in February, like I said. I hadn't seen much of him since then. Only odd bits and highlights. This has got the potential to be a good game. Two teams, 3-5-2. In fact, we'll just have a quick look at their team as played in the last game. Well, according to the BBC, this is how Sunderland lined up in the last game. 3-5-2, so very similar to Wednesday. Patterson in net, back three of Wright, Danny Barton, who they obviously nipped in and signed in front of us. O'Neill, yeah. Gooch, Evans, Embleton was obviously a decent goal scorer from Middle Park. Roberts, Pritchard, who really is the one to watch, I would have thought. And up front, Broadhead, who, as we know, there's a bit of a doubt. And top goal scorer, Stu up front. So if Wednesday go out with a 3-5-2 as well, which I'd expect him to do, it looks like it's going to be matched up right across the park. And there is potential, actually, for it to be a decent game. Two teams, 3-5-2, the potential for a good battle, you know. In my head, experience tells me it's probably going to be a cagey game and neither team's going to want to give a lot away, but the potential is there for it to be a good match. But when I come to Neil, like I said, I've not seen a lot of what he'd done at Sunderland, but in my head, all I can think about is his Preston side. And his Preston side were horrible. They were a really horrible side, weren't they? Got that Ben Pearson there, Pearson, nasty little gate, niggling, trying to referee game, you know, telling the referee his job every 5 minutes. Got that bloody horrible right back, I forget his name, him who grabbed Patterson by bollocks earlier last season. And if his Sunderland team had out like his Preston team, it could be an horrible game. It could be an horrible game. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping, like I said, there's good players in both teams here. They've got, I mean, Pritchard's a really good player. I've heard that Roberts is highly rated, actually. So the potential's there. Two teams playing a similar system for it to be a nice, open, entertaining game. But as I said, experience tells you it's not going to be. And if Alex Neil is the way he was at Preston, I don't think it will be. But perhaps that is because of the budget he had when he was there relative to the division. Maybe in this division, probably one of the biggest clubs in the division here, maybe he's got a different attitude and he's more expansive, I don't know. We'll soon find out, won't we? But over two legs, I've just got this horrible cagey feeling. Unless they go all out at home. I mean, they did beat us 5-0, which I don't really want to talk about, but they did beat us 5-0 up there, so maybe they'll want to get a couple of goals head start. In a way, I hope they do. I think that'll suit that. If they come out, even with 40,000 Mackems roaring them on, if they come out and attack, that'll suit Wednesday, I think. I think we can really do them in an open game on counter, so. But I've just got a feeling it'll be cagey. And what about Wednesday? How are they going to line up? Well, I don't think they're going to line up defensively because I don't think it suits us. I'm hoping they don't line up defensively because, you know, Johnson, Hunt, Bannon, Byers, we've a very attack-minded side. And if we go in there to defend, I think we'll struggle. And it's an old cliche, the best way to defend often, especially when you've got quality players in your squad, is to attack. So I'm hoping for an attacking game. I can't see it. Wednesday, of course, we've got our own concern, haven't we? Barry Bannon. So this morning, went online in my break, people panicking, pictures from training ground before the big game, everyone in meltdown. I can't see Baz. Well, if I were manager, I'd be saying that to the photographer, don't take any pictures of Baz or whatever, you know, even if we were training, keep him out that way. We don't need to let them know whether he's fit or not. I think Wednesday will go with the same team that we've been putting out in recent weeks. We'll just have a look there. So I expect Wednesday will go with a similar team, Peacock, Farrell in net. The only possible change, I'm looking at the back four, I think Story will play, I think Hutchinson will play. I think there's just a question mark about whether Dean, if he's fit, will come in, just give us that bit more aerial presence, physicality at back. Palmer, Hutchinson might give us a more mobile back three. I think it'll depend. It's a big decision for Darren Moore to make there. Midfield a bit same, I would expect. Hunt, Johnson in wide areas, Byers, Luongo, Bannon. Obviously, Baz is fit. And I can't really see any changes up front with Gregory in absolutely magnificent form at minute, just hitting a purple patch at right time. And Berahino, who has not really had as many goal-scoring opportunities, I don't think, but when they do fall to mid-box, as we talked about in that last game, he's just got that little knack. So I think there's that option to look at. Will it be Dean, more physical, better in the air, or will it be Hutchinson in the middle and Palmer? I think that gives you a probably slightly more mobile back three. That's something to consider. And there's one other thing to consider. If Baz isn't fit, and I think if he isn't fit, it's something that we should do. Now, the obvious thing to do if Baz isn't fit is probably to put, Fizz Delabashiru into midfield and put him in there in that three with Byers and Luongo. Okay, he's not Barry Bannon, he don't play the same role as Barry Bannon, but he does bring a physicality and he brings a drive and I think his last few appearances have actually probably been the best he's had since he's been in a Wednesday shirt. I think he's shown a real sort of coming into that potential. He's had the potential all along. I think he's really started motoring into it now and showing what he can do. But for me personally, big game like this, away from home, we're probably going to be on counter for most of it, I would have thought. I'd be tempted to just stick Mendes-Lang in there, in that attacking midfield role. I know you can use him as an option from the bench, and that's possibly his best position, coming on in a wide area, driving at tired fullbacks. But could he do a similar role there from behind that front two, driving on, pinning their central midfield players back? Because someone would have to keep an eye on him, someone would have to be tracking him. And if they're playing a three at the back, a player like that running at you from deep is an absolute nightmare scenario when you're a set at half. So I think that's what I'd do. Because it's easy for me to say that, because it's not a decision that could cost us a game or cost me my job or out like that, innit? It's easy for me to be brave and say, stick him in there in all. I'd be tempted to do it though. As it is, if Bannon ain't fit, and would have all got fingers crossed that he is, because he's had a fantastic season, if he ain't fit, I think it will be Delabashiru in midfield. And, like I said, his recent form's been really very good, so if Baz ain't about, it's up to one of them to claim that responsibility, take that opportunity, but desperately hoping he will be fit, Bannon, and I've got a feeling he will be. Score prediction. As I said, there's a potential for it to be a really good game. Two teams are 3-5-2, going at it. Elfa Leather could be a right humdinger, but I think it'll be a cagey one. I think it might be nicked by odd goal. If Wednesday could go there and keep a clean sheet, I'd be happy with that and then get them back to Hillsborough. I think it's going to be a really tough game. Equally, it'll be a tough game for them when they come to ours, actually, I think. So I won't want to call it. But if we could go there, get a clean sheet or a score draw, I'd be quite happy with that, to be honest with you. Got here. Please now. Wickham 2-0 against MK Dons. Can only think what a horrible game that were. Gordon Benny. We're hoping MK Dons would do it. Won't fancy playing bloody Wickham again. Anyway, Sunderland first. If we go there, get a draw, or then not a win would be fantastic, but at least get a draw. Get Nick a goal, that'd be fantastic. And then get them back to Hillsborough and take it from there. What do you think we're going to do? Do you think it'll be an open game? Tight, cagey game? My heart says an open game. Two good teams going at it. Elfa Leather. Ed says cagey one. We'll see. I hope it's not cagey, because I'm tense anyway. You start getting tense, don't you, as kick-off starts approaching. If it's tense and then the game is cagey, that makes you even more tense. So, plenty of tea. have some ale. Anyway, let me know what you think we're going to do. 1-0 be fantastic, wouldn't it? Nerves, bloody nerves now. Right, tea.